Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and today we're going to take a look at a slightly different topic than we normally do. We're going to look at a working draft of a chapter of an A&A guide for the AICPA. So typically we look at full-on standards, but this is application guidance, and I think it's really important for those of you who work with nonprofits or work for not-for-profits that you understand a little bit of the implication of what this chapter is doing. And so this is looking at the impact of CECL, ASU 2016-13, on programmatic investments in particular. And so programmatic investments are very important for not-for-profit organizations. It's how they further their mission. And there was a little bit of confusion with respect to the impact of CECL. It was hotly debated by the FASB's Not-for-Profit Advisory Committee, as well as the AICPA's expert panel. And so we have a proposal that's come out of FINREC on how they think we should apply CECL to programmatic investments. So this was issued on May 10th of 2024. And again, it's a working draft of Chapter 8. So they update every year the changes that are related to, what's happening in accounting and auditing for all the A&A guides. And usually they just do an update behind the scenes. FINREC approves it, FASB takes a look at it, and they put it out there. However, when there are these really big chapter changes, they do put it out for public comment, and that's what we're seeing here. So ASU 2016-13 requires the application of CECL, the current expected credit loss, to receivables that are amortized cost basis. And the scope of this includes what we would consider to be programmatic investments. So programmatic investments are very important for not-for-profit organizations. There are different types of programmatic investments. They can be loans, they can be equity interest, and in these scenarios, they're doing it not for return on investment, right? So they're not giving a loan to get all this interest income. They're giving a loan to further their mission. And when they're doing this, right, say you have, your mission is to help low-income kids go to college, right? It's a great mission, highly recommend. And if you were to look at students or children who come from low-income families, if you were to look at a standard market interest rate for a loan to go to college, which is very expensive, that interest rate is going to be pretty high because they're a higher risk family. And in this scenario, if our mission is to help these kids go to college, we may offer them a below market or even no interest rate loan, right? And so that is, a concept of, below market, and it's going to have an element of a contribution, right? So in this scenario, we're furthering our mission, so we don't charge a market interest rate. You can also have things like forgiveness. If you go to school and we give you this loan and you go work in a Title I school after graduation, we'll forgive your loan, right? Again, the whole point is to further the mission as you go through this. However, CECL has to apply to these programmatic investments because they're held at amortized cost basis. The interesting thing here is we were expecting them to just address CECL. However, some of the things that they included in there are concepts like bifurcated derivative and fair market value considerations, which I was somewhat surprised to see. So when we look at barriers and things like that for conditional grants, we have never really thought of them as a bifurcated derivative or any type of derivative because we've just looked at this as not having variable rates or variable cash flows. We've looked at it as sort of the mission driven. So if this is something that interests you, I implore you to really give this an opportunity here. So comments are due July 12th, and they should be going to Stephanie Otero at aicpa.cema.com. And I really encourage you to give feedback here. I actually had a meeting this morning with one of the A&A committees of a state and implored them to provide feedback here. So I think the AICPA needs to hear a little bit of feedback from people who work directly with not-for-profit organizations to address some of this proposal. So if this is something that you love and you care a lot about for not-for-profit organizations, I would definitely take a good read of this chapter and compare it to the previous chapter because some of the beautiful flowcharts have come out and some of the other things I really liked about the previous chapter I think might be missing from this chapter. So I encourage you to take a look and to provide feedback. Stephanie Otero is the head of not-for-profit for AICPA, and I am sure she would love to hear your feedback. All right, so that's a wrap on this week's blog, and I hope to see you on a future blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.